part that really excites me about my job is really it was designed around connectivity. Before, we've had connectivity built on older platforms where we could get information out and we could program some parts of the truck. This truck, we get a lot more data, and we can almost program just about anything on the truck over the air.
Welcome to Beyond the Bulldog, presented by Mack Trucks. I'm your host, Brian Wright. What you can expect from Beyond the Bulldog is to learn, enjoy, and participate from the comfort of your seat, whether on the road or off. You'll engage in topics and stories from people that work in the trucking industry, including some who work for Mack Trucks. This episode, the third of three centered around the release of Mack Pioneer, is with Connell Deedy, Director, Customer Productivity Solutions. Connell earned an engineering degree from University of Massachusetts Amherst and has worked with telematics throughout his career. Connell has worked at Mack for 25 years to help customers manage their fleets through data and information transfer.
You're listening to Beyond the Bulldog, presented by Mack Trucks.
Connell Deedy, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you.
If you will, let us know what's your title and what do you do?
Well, I'm the Director of Productivity Solutions for Mack Trucks. So really, I'm working every day to leverage the connectivity information we have on the trucks and bring that information to our customers in real time or near real time in order for them to become more successful with our product.
Gotcha. So what kind of information is being provided?
Yeah. So we have a lot of information coming from trucks these days. So when we talk about telematics, which is a lot of the information we're using and combining it with other information and knowledge we have information like the latitude, longitude, where the trucks are in near real time, what's the speed, where they've been. Also information on fault codes, fuel economy, safety information, even the software that's running on that truck or the settings in the truck. We have all that available to us and to our customers. And then we can also, with the capabilities we have, we can read that information, but also some of that information we could write back to the truck in order to keep it up to date and make sure it's in its optimal position to perform the best for our customers.
Wow. Well, that's tremendous. So what's your background? I saw on LinkedIn that you've been here for a little bit.
Yeah. So I've been with Mack and this group for 25 years. So
wow.
25 years I've been in this industry, and all of it in advanced engineering and in telematics and communication and services. So as the technology's advanced, I've advanced in my career. So at first this is like far out stuff. Imagine if we could have communication to the trucks in real time. That was, in the early 2000s, that was, new. But we could only get very small pieces of information because it was very expensive. Now we get so much information back from the truck. And now it's really how do we put it into packets and information to really help our customers without overwhelming them with information, the right information so that they can get the best out of that truck.
What has the biggest change been over that span that's enabled it to be a bigger part of the truck?
Well, I think really the two parts. One is the trucks are more complex as we get older. They're more software driven than they were 25 years ago. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Efficiency, we can say regulations, other things. It's kind of an iPhone on wheels to a degree. There's a lot of mechanical parts, but it's all kind of driven by software. Mm-hmm. So when you have that built into the truck, that means you can get more information. Also, the trucking industry has changed quite a bit, where it's always been a low margin, but really you got to get the most out of that truck. That asset is it's not cheap to have a truck, so you want to get everything you can out of that tool and really to help run your business.
Wow. Yeah, obviously, you start thinking about 25 years ago, and the emergency of cell phones, internet, things like that, and how they can communicate from truck to device anymore.
Yeah.
Not just your computer.
Yeah. Well, it was high tech when I started my career. Many people in this podcast may have never heard things like pagers and Mobitext and some of the communication methods that we had and the limitations. So really, a lot of things have come in a long way, not only in the truck, but in the just in general technology.
Well, as you know, we had a pretty big reveal recently with the Mack Pioneer. What do you think of it? What was your role in the development of that truck?
Well, the Pioneer is it's so exciting. You just look at it. It's gorgeous. It's got so many features for the drivers, the comfort of it. I got the opportunity to drive it, and it's really easy to drive. I have a CDL. I can drive a truck. I'm not a truck driver. It's more like I have the capability and the license to do it, but I don't do it on a regular basis. But really, driving that truck it's just a dream. It's too easy to drive. It's almost like driving it's easier than driving like a Cadillac or something like that.
So it feels pretty small.
Well, it's big, but it feels very controllable. It's very easy. Steering, turning the wheel. You could do it with a finger. It's really, and it's got all those safety features to it. It's really a nice ride, and it's a really great experience. But the role in developing it, one part that really excites me about my job is really it was designed around connectivity. Before, we've had connectivity built on older platforms where we could get information out and we could program some parts of the truck. This truck, we get a lot more data, and we can almost program just about anything on the truck over the air. So we can really keep that truck optimally performed, not just the powertrain, but really all of the ECUs. We're able to change the settings as well as update the software if there's a new release or something that we can get that out to the truck quickly. And so it's more like I mentioned an iPhone on wheels, like you get your iPhone update. You don't even really notice it. It just happens and things get better or things start working, hopefully. Usually most cases, extend your battery life or do things like that. We can do that now with this Pioneer in a way that we couldn't before, and that's really exciting.
I'm sure I'll probably ask a similar question later on in our podcast, but touching on that, how do you go about the process of writing down on a piece of paper? It's like, okay, what information do I want that'll work today, but try to also plan for the future as things change?
Right, and that's always hard because you never know what you don't know. But I think what we've always taken the philosophy of, as the developer, builder of that truck, what information would I want to know now and in the future to make sure that thing is running as best as we can and providing the information to customers that they need to run their business. So I think what we say is, all right, let's take as much information or have capabilities to bring everything back. Even if we don't, we can do it kind of over the air. We can tell it, okay, now I want this data for this customer that maybe another customer may not be interested in that information. So it's very programmable in that, again, we can read and write onto almost the whole truck when it comes from electronic control units. So that's kind of how we developed it. And then on the services side, we want to make sure we're not overwhelming. Even though we may have an overwhelming amount of information coming in, we want to deliver the right information in the right time in the right format to the customer so they consume it in a way that helps their business. And that's really important.
This year, Mack Trucks celebrates its 125th anniversary and the release of our new flagship truck, Mack Pioneer. To commemorate these historic milestones, Mack Shop has released limited edition apparel and accessories. From shirts and hats to coffee mugs and bags, Mack Shop has lots of ways for you to show off your love of this iconic American brand. And right now, podcast listeners can save 20% off selected items just by using the code MACPODCAST. One word, no spaces. Just go to MACShop.com for all the latest Mack styles and make sure to use the code MACPODCAST to get 20% off. So we are here with Connell Deedy, Director of Connected Services with Mack Trucks. Let's dive into the Pioneer just a little bit more. So I guess we've kind of defined it, but what is telematics? What exactly is that, and how does it, I guess, pass along that information?
Yeah, so it's a great question because telematics is really just taking information, being able to provide it over the air from an electronic control unit or a number of them, and bringing that information back to an office or to a server to do things with it. So that's kind of just basically what telematics is, over-the-air information. But really, when we talk about telematics and how we get that information is we have in all vehicles, we have a number of control units that are on a network, and we make sure that our telematics, our proprietary telematics box or ECU, is in the middle of that, so it can communicate to any one of them and is on the same network, so they can get that information in real time. And again, the important part of being able to read that information, but then write that information. So the other ECUs or networks, nodes on the network, they know that they're being, from a security standpoint, this is part of the truck. This is not another device coming in. So the encryption and the ability to make sure that if we are programming another module, it's coming from a trusted source. And that's really super important.
I didn't even think about the security side of it. Obviously, having access to data is going to help the driver, the fleet manager, businesses.
Yeah.
I didn't think about being able to tap into that from a security standpoint.
Yeah. But I mean, that's really important for Mack Trucks, that we kind of control that end to end. And so we have the encryption and the other pieces of other safety guards in there to make sure that doesn't happen. And, it's again, thinking forward or whatever, it's never, it's not an issue. We had never had an issue, but we want to make sure it never is one.
So the information that is available to the end user, you're going to get GPS, right? Perhaps speed, miles per gallon, information that you can see on the instrument cluster, service and maintenance, perhaps if there's a code that they can have that. What else is out there that businesses can utilize?
Well, all of that is super important. And, the way that we have approached it when we talk about, for instance, as you mentioned, the fault code, it's not just the fault code. That's a piece of information saying here's a problem or a potential problem. That doesn't give actionable information to the customer. Well, what do I do with that? They don't want to. We want to do all that analysis for them, and we do that with our Guard Dog Connect service. So what we do with Guard Dog is, and we provide that in the Mack Connect platform, where they can see that information in real time, exactly what was the issue, what's the severity, is it something I need to do right now, or is that something I can take care of later? And we also give the repair instructions, that exactly what needs to be done step by step, what tools are needed, what parts are needed, even if it's under warranty, what warranty claim. So if a customer is doing their own repair, they have all that information. If they're taking it to a dealer, they have all that information. And that really takes the guesswork of how long will that take? How long will my truck be out of service to get this fixed? What needs to be done? What level technician do we need to do it? What tools do I need? So when truck comes in, it's kind of, as much as possible, be like a pit stop, is to get that thing in and out as fast as we can. And that's the idea of, and that's what we really focus on. It's not just the information coming from the truck, but the analysis and then feeding that information back to the interested party in the right format.
Well, that's tremendous because, if you get that information, then you'll know if you need to act now, or if perhaps you're in the middle of a route, you can complete that work for your customer and then take care of what's necessary.
Right. And we realize that our customers are driving Mack trucks, but they have customers too. So there's normally something on the back of that truck. Does it need to come out of service right now, or can I go ahead and do that job and then bring the truck in? Super important information to deliver in real time, and we do that today with Guard Dog Connect.
So how would this suite of or this amount of information, like would it specifically be for larger customers? What about like a smaller fleet, or maybe even like a single truck owner operator? How can each of those types of customers utilize this information?
Yeah, it's a very good point. Or even if they're a leasing customer versus an owning truck, it really serves. When I talk about Guard Dog Connect, or even that information on the servicing of what needs to be done with the truck, that services all segments across the board, because everyone wants to get the job done. And if there's an issue, they want to know, and they want to be able to take action on it. And then when it does come in for repair, get it done. Then the other information that we talked about earlier, like latitude, longitude, where is the truck right now? Where does it need to be? We want to deliver that to the operations people. So that's the people that really maybe want to know, where is it in the delivery? Is the delivery here yet? When will it be there? That information is all there. And so some of the larger customers, they may already have a system or a third-party system where they're tracking the trucks. So I really see that, that information is really beneficial to the small and medium size that may not have easy access to it, but they will with Mack Connect. And then we have fuel information, very important. No matter if you're a large fleet, small fleet, it's dollars and cents. We really see a lot of difference between customers. There may be 30% difference between a efficient from a fuel economy to an inefficient on the same route. So we see things like idle time in top gear, information on if the truck is spec'd correctly, or the speed settings for the truck. Sometimes if you lower the speed a couple miles an hour, it can make a really big difference in the total amount of fuel you're spending per month or per year. So that's super important information for any size fleet.
Yeah.
This Week in History. This has been This Week in History.
We are here with Connell Deedy. He's the Director of Connected Services with Mack Trucks. So maximizing uptime, it's kind of what we're talking about here with Guard Dog Connect. What if there's an unexpected stop where you're on the side of the road, you're not able to drive, perhaps the fault code saying, look, there's something you need to pay attention to now. So with Connected Services, is it just a computer thing relaying information? Is there a personal side as well helping monitor these things?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, it's absolutely, there's both, right? So from an electronic standpoint, we can see if there's an issue, and we can advise in real time whoever the contact person is for the fleet. It may be the driver, it may be someone else that makes the decision and communicates that to the driver. That's up to our customers. Always have the option of how they want that information delivered to them. Then we have also, if you just hit a deer on the side of the road, and you hit your radiator goes out, there's nothing electronically that we could tell you ahead of time that was going to happen. There's Mack One Call, 24/7, 365. There's a call center that our customers can call into, and it's included with the new Pioneer for 5 years. That service. So no case fee, and they're Class 8 trained. They don't do anything except trucks. It's not just a call center you might get for a car or something else. These people know trucks, and they know how to support customers and drivers if there is an issue like that. So they're available. They'll advise whether there's a dealer, it needs to go to a dealer, or even if it's a third-party shop, they have a whole list of that. Sometimes they even have some discounts when you go into those shops. And then we, also, flat tire, anything like that, a tow, they'll arrange for that, again, on behalf of the driver or the customer at no case fee charge.
Great. So, there's kind of obviously there's the data component, but then if there is something that happens, there's kind of a team working behind the scenes to help make things easier to get back up and running.
Yes.
Got it.
And even on some of the Guard Dog Connect, you can have in your profile, if it's a red case or a severe case, we'll do an outbound call to you, so you don't even have to be monitoring your systems or anything like that. So we're doing that.
Right?
Yes, we're doing that every day. We're proactively calling when there's a severe case or a red case, we call them. We notice that, and it's in their profile that they want to be contacted.
Mm-hmm.
We will contact them directly and reach out.
Would a business be able to determine who the point of contact is? I mean, if it's a driver or if there's a fleet manager or maybe somebody else that's in the loop?
Yes. So we set up a profile on every customer, who they want to be contacted, and our different customers want to be in different ways. It may be between at nighttime you contact this person or this group, and in daytime you contact this other. You may put your drivers can be the ones that to be contacted or can approve certain things that can be all put in your profile, even what tires you prefer if there was a tire repair that needed to be done. So we build a profile when we warranty register a truck. And if you ever need to change your profile, you just call Mac One Call, and they can change that profile and get it done.
So do they work 24/7? What about holidays?
Yeah, 24/7, 365.
Okay.
Right here in North Carolina, where you'll get a call when you call Mac One Call. That's who you're going to be talking to.
Fantastic. Well, that's awesome. And I'm guessing they probably support more than just English as a language.
Yes, there's multiple languages. You quiz me, I wouldn't be able to name them all, but yes, they also have language translator support. So I think it's 6 or 7 languages, for sure, French, Spanish, English, of course, and then I'll see if I start naming them, I'll mess up. But there's also a language service, even if they couldn't speak, we on call, so they could translate and be the go-between if you have a driver that's speaking a language that's not supported in our Mac One Call.
Excellent. So the Pioneer's got all of this, right? It's got the sensors, the computers, and it's delivering information so that companies can manage their routes, location, and speed. If there's a question about where's my delivery or where's the truck, they'll be able to find that out. Guard Dog Connect will help them if there's an issue or a fault code, and not just what it is, but also what to do.
Yeah.
And of course, there's that human element with the One Call as well. What else is in the Pioneer? I mean, as far as the productivity, the connectivity, the telematics in it, that sets it apart.
Well, the Mac over the air. So we're able to do more things than ever with the Pioneer over the air. So many of our customers, they don't actually know if there's a software update available. We make that very clear through Mac Connect if there's an update available. And we will also be able to perform that update without having to take the truck out of service. So when probably back in 2014, 2015, I think the industry number one downtime issue, the reason that trucks would come out of service, were software updates. So basically, you take your truck into a dealership or somewhere if you have your own tool, take it out of service to update the software and put that back on the road. And that would cause a lot of downtime for our customers. So many times they put off having that software done, and yet it would lead to performance issues over time. And now we can do that over the air, and we've been doing it. Mac has been doing it for since 2017. On the powertrain, But now with the Pioneer, we can do almost the whole vehicle over the air. So what does that mean for our customers? That's less time taking the truck out of service. Even if you have your own shop where you could do this, it's so much quicker to be able to do that over the air. So it just shows up in the driver display, and either the driver can do it on a stop, or when the truck comes back in, you send out someone, a tech, or all they need to do is click 3 buttons and update that truck. And now it's up to date, where it needs to be for maximum performance.
So the driver can schedule when that happens.
Yeah, today, the driver or the fleet manager can have that. Basically, the software gets sent down in a package to the truck, and a little icon appears on the instrument cluster. And you have up to 28 days to perform that software update. So anytime that's convenient, the next 28 days, you click that button. On average, if we're doing software, on average, it's about 8 minutes to do that. And then if it's a parameter like a setting like road speed or idle shutdown setting, that takes like 30 seconds to a minute.
So the driver's got time to make that update. Obviously, we all have computers, and sometimes updates interfere with our normal day-to-day. So the driver is going to have the opportunity to select when. Perhaps they're almost done with their route, or perhaps they know that they've got some downtime for a break, that they can have that done. So when they get back up and running, it's good.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, you're required as a CDL driver to you take your 15-minute or 30-minute break, and you can just press a button, and it'll tell you before you start how long it's going to take, so how long it's going to be, and it's really pretty simple to do.
So do these happen on a schedule, or does it just occur, quote, at random, right? And do you get one a day, or is it quarterly? How does that happen?
Well, what's great with the Pioneer, so right now the way it works today is it's you schedule it. You call Mac One Call and say, I want it performed on these trucks, and we'll get them updated. You can see which trucks need to be updated in Mac Connect. We can do one truck or your whole fleet. And we call out a Mac One Call. You'll talk to a human. They'll go ahead and do it. What we announced with the new Pioneer, when the new Pioneer is available and in service, we'll be doing that for you as a customer. So about each quarter, we'll go and look and see which ECUs need an update, and we'll send a package down automatically to the truck. So you don't have to call and request, and it'll be there. And it's about once a quarter, we think, that we'll be doing those updates, so they're not very often. Now, you'll still have the capability to request things like settings. So those aren't things that, your road speed settings, say the price of diesel went down to $2 and you want to move your road speed up from 68 to 70. Those type of things can be done, today and over the air, but those are on request.
It's interesting. So it's not just a tractor trailer or a truck anymore. It's a tool. It's doing the work, but you're able to control a lot of the parameters even without having to be in the truck at all, for that matter.
Yes. And with Mac Connect, we give you the visibility, and that's super. A lot of great feedback from our customers when we launched is, I didn't know that the road speed setting on that truck was different than the rest in my fleet. That's very common. It happens out there in the industry a lot for different reasons, but now you have that control and visibility to see that, and the ability to change it over the air, again, included in the truck price. It's no extra charge. So that's really been one of the most popular features of Mac Connect since we launched it.
Excellent. We're here with Connell Deedy. He is the Director of Connected Services with Mack Trucks. So as we get to a close here, I'm going to ask a question and kind of let you answer that however you would like. But so when I say the word heritage, what comes to mind?
Well, heritage, I think, is about, obviously history, where you come from, what is your values. That's what I see when I heritage, and how it helps shape the impression that you have of it or of you. If you talk about my heritage, obviously, you talk about what I think about is, my grandparents, where I came from, where I grew up, the people around me. Those are kind of the heritage that made me who I am and my values that I have and that I live. And that's kind of how I see what heritage, kind of means.
Gotcha. So you've got the history. So it almost is something where you feel like you have to live up to something too, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Anything you want to share on that?
Well, with this new truck, the Pioneer, it's absolutely is, as I mentioned before, it's a great truck. I mean, it has the toughness, it has the look, it has the feel of a Mack truck, but it's also very modern. It's got the technology and other parts of the Mack heritage that has always been a leader in getting, bringing new things into the market and lasting. And so these trucks are built to last. When I mention some of the capabilities we have to update the truck, keep it fresh, keep it performing at its best with some of the tools we have now over the air, I think that helps reinforce the heritage of Mack.
That was fantastic. I don't know that I could have scripted it much better. Are there any topics that come to your mind that we need to include in our conversation today?
Yeah, I think one other part of that we have available within Mack Connect in our services that come standard is the safety information. We know it's very important for our customers, for our fleet customers, to understand how the truck has been driven, whether it's been driven aggressively, is a driver using their seatbelt, things like that.
Okay.
We're able to show that information in Mack Connect so that we can see how those trucks have been driven and, can help for which maybe drivers need driver coaching, or you can help see that information so you have a better handle of how your trucks have been driven and make sure that because safety is so important in our industry, not only for the social aspects, we don't want people to get hurt. These are big trucks, 80,000 pounds coming down the road, can do a lot of damage, but also, from a liability standpoint and really from the cost it could have on a carrier if they have an accident. So we want to prevent as many of those as possible. So we give some great safety information in Mack Connect. Mm-hmm. And then also the driver. I talked about how great it is to drive that truck. It's really, really nice on all the features in it. But also we have something that we're launching with the new Pioneer. It's called My Mack. So you have a mobile application that you can download from Google Play or from the App Store and Apple. But with that, for a driver and if whoever owns that truck can decide who can have access to the truck, but they get to see some information in that app that's really neat. They can almost start their pre-trip. They can see the fuel levels, the DEF levels, the information about, are any lights out and any trailer lights or headlights or other lights out that might need to be addressed before they even start their trip or even get out to the truck. And I think one of the coolest features is you can remotely turn on the heat or cooling with the mobile app. So
nice.
If you're up, it's a cold weather day, you can turn it on. So when you get out there, it's at the right temperature, or at least getting closer to the right temperature where you want it to be, so you can start your day or continue your day in comfort.
Or the other way around. It's hot. You want to make sure when you get in there, it's cool.
As cool as possible. Exactly.
Yeah, we are in the South.
It's really neat features.
That's great. So they'll have access with their cell phone so they can see some vital information on the trucks as well. Very cool.
Yeah.
Well, this has been terrific, Connell. I've really appreciated you coming today on our podcast.
Great.
Thank you so much for your time.
Well, thank you.
Yep. Cheers.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and make sure to follow the Bulldog.